Hello students, once again I welcome you all in this particular lecture. So up till now we have been looking about various atomic models, right? So we have started with Thomson's atomic model. After that we have seen Rutherford atomic model, then we came to the Bohr atomic model, and finally in order to understand the fine structure of H alpha line we have introduced the Sommerfeld atomic model, and we learned that Sommerfeld atomic model was partially successful in explaining the fine structure of H alpha line, right? But in order to completely explain the fine structure of H alpha line, we need some modifications. So lot of modifications have been incorporated by various scientists, and some experimental facts have also been incorporated, and the resultant atomic models were prepared, and that atomic model has got the name vector atom model. Okay, so let us start today vector atom model. Vector atom model. Actually this vector atom model is an extension to, it is an extension to Rutherford, Bohr, Sommerfeld atomic model. Okay, it is just the extension to these particular atomic models. There are two important characteristics of vector atom model. The first important characteristic is the concept of space quantization. The concept of space quantization, and another important characteristic of this vector atom model is spin electron hypothesis. Spin electron hypothesis. Okay, so we shall see one by one. So let us look at this concept of space quantization. What is meant by space quantization? So up till now we have seen that in the Bohr atomic theory and in the Sommerfeld atomic theory, all the atomic orbits in which the electrons are revolving, these atomic orbits are quantized. Okay, again we must say that these atomic orbits are quantized, but this quantization takes place in terms of magnitude only. Okay, so in case of Bohr atomic model and in case of Sommerfeld atomic model, there is a quantization of orbits, and all this quantization takes place in terms of magnitude only. Now there are two very important words, that quantization of orbits, and this quantization takes place in terms of magnitude. This quantization takes place in terms of magnitude. So what is meaning of these two words actually? Okay, what do we mean by the quantization of orbits? We know that in case of Bohr has said that only electron can revolve only in those orbits for which its angular momentum is equal to integral multiple of h upon 2 pi, where n is a constant. It is called as a principal quantum number, and this n can take value 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., etc. Okay, what is the meaning of this? The meaning of this quantization means what? That the orbit in which the electron is moving, the angular momentum of the electron in that particular orbit will be multiple of h upon 2 pi only. It means that it will take the value sometimes. If the electron is revolving in the first orbit, then the angular momentum will be 1 into h upon 2 pi. If the electron is moving into the second orbit, then this angular momentum will be 2 into h upon 2 pi. If it is moving in the third orbit, then its angular momentum will be 3 into h upon 2 pi. So see, the angular momentum can have value this, or it can have value this, or it can have value this. The angular momentum of an electron in any orbit cannot have a value which lies between these two values. Okay, it cannot have a value of 1.5 into h upon 2 pi. It cannot have a value of 1.4 into h upon 2 pi. Again, it cannot have a value of 2.5 or 2.4 into h upon 2 pi. So, okay, so these values are not allowed for the electron. Okay, electron can have only those angular momentum which are given by these particular equations. So in this case, what we can say is that angular momentum means what we can say that only particular value of angular momentum is allowed to the electronic orbits, right? So in this way, these are the quantized. Angular momentum increases in terms of quanta. Okay, and that quanta, since we are increasing or we are allowing only quantum values of angular momentum for the electronic orbits, we say that this is a quantization. right? So this is a kind of quantization. Quantum rules will be applicable to the angular momentum of the electronic orbits. Okay, so this is the meaning of quantization, and this quantization takes place in terms of magnitude only. So what should be the meaning of magnitude only? See, what quantization we are looking at? We are looking at the quantization of angular momentum. So how the angular momentum will arise? We considered the orbital motion of the electron in the orbit. So suppose that there is a elliptical orbit or the circular orbit, and suppose this is the electron revolving around this particular electronic orbit or stationary orbit. Now the revolving electron will have some angular momentum. Quantization of magnitude means that only the magnitude of orbital angular momentum will be quantized, okay, not the direction. We are not talking about the direction of the angular momentum. So whatever angular momentum of the electron will be there, that magnitude of that angular momentum, that is 1 into h upon 2 pi, 2 into h upon 2 pi, 3 into h upon 2 pi, only these values will be quantized, right? Now what will happen if the magnitude is only quantized? Whenever we talk only about magnitude, it will indicate shape and size of orbits. It will indicate the shape and size of the orbit. Means whenever we say that the magnitude of the angular momentum is quantized, it means that the shape and size of that electronic orbit is fixed, or it is quantized. Only certain shape and size of the electronic orbits will be allowed, and remaining will not be allowed. So this is the case which we studied earlier. Actually, whenever we studied the Bohr atomic model and Sommerfeld atomic model, we realized that there we applied the concept of quantization of orbits and quantization of magnitude. But actually this vector atom model, and in that vector atom model the concept of space quantization demands more than that. So what is this more? Actually the concept of space quantization demands that in addition to the magnitude of angular momentum, the direction of angular momentum must also be quantized. The direction of angular momentum must also be quantized. Now what is the meaning of direction of angular momentum? So just now I have illustrated that, suppose that this is the electronic orbit, and if the electron is revolving in this particular electronic orbit, okay, it is performing some kind of orbital motion, for example, then what will happen? It will have some angular momentum. So this will be the angular momentum of the electron, because you see, if this is the plane of electronic orbit, then there will be the radius vector and there will be the velocity vector, okay, and this angular momentum will be perpendicular to the plane of the orbit, electronic orbit. So direction of angular momentum is quantized. It means that this vector L will be oriented only in some particular directions, okay, or we can say that if the orientation of this L is fixed, okay, or if the direction of this L is fixed, it means that the orientation of electronic orbit will be fixed. Only certain discrete orientations of electronic orbits will be allowed, and remaining will not be allowed. So the space quantization means that not all orientations will be allowed for the electronic orbits in an atom. Earlier what we were saying, that electron was revolving in the circular orbit or the elliptical orbit. But which elliptical orbit? Suppose that electron is revolving in this particular fashion, okay, it is the elliptical orbit, so it is revolving in this plane of my hand, okay. So what should be the orientation of this particular orbit? It can be oriented like this, it can be oriented like this, it can be oriented like this. Earlier we were thinking like that, we were not bothered about the orientation of this electronic orbit, okay. But now the concept of space quantization tells us that the direction in which the angular momentum is oriented, that should also be quantized, that should also be quantized. What is the meaning of that? Suppose that this is the plane of the electronic orbit, then direction of angular momentum will be pointed like this, okay. So according to the rule of space quantization, this orientation of vector L, direction of vector L, or the orientation of electronic orbits, only some orientations of electronic orbit will be allowed, okay, remaining will not be allowed. So this is the concept of space quantization. Now whenever I say that the direction of L will be quantized, means not all direction of L will be allowed, only certain fixed direction of L will be allowed, or certain fixed orientations of L will be allowed. What will be the meaning of that? So let us understand this. So in order to find out what is the orientation of the electronic orbit, suppose that we want to find out what is the orientation of the electronic orbit. So in order to do that, suppose that this is the electronic orbit, okay, the electron is revolving like that, and suppose that this is the vector L, and if I want to find out what is the orientation or what is the direction of this vector L, that is angular momentum, then what we will have to do, we will have to apply some external field. Now in this case we will apply the weak magnetic field, we will apply the weak external magnetic field. Suppose that we apply the external field denoted by capital H or capital B, right? Then what will happen? According to the rule of space quantization, this L will have only certain orientations. Now if L is having certain orientation, then this vector L, suppose that this magnetic field is represented like this, then what will happen? This vector L will make certain angles only with the field direction. This vector L will be making certain angles with the field direction only. Now when this vector L will make only certain angles, alternatively what we can say that if this is the case, the projection of L onto the field axis will also be quantized. Means since the particular directions are only allowed, it means that only particular angles will be allowed, and if only particular angles will be allowed, then we can alternatively say that the projection of L onto the field axis, only certain projection of L onto the field axis will only be allowed. Okay, so if this theta is allowed, then what will happen? What will be the projection? This will be the projection. This particular distance will be called as a projection of L onto the field axis. Okay, suppose if this theta is not allowed, if this theta is allowed, this is theta 1, this is theta 2. So this is the way in which L is oriented, suppose at this particular angle of inclination, then what will be the projection in this case? The projection will be this much distance. So you see, if particular angles are quantized, it means that particular projections are quantized. So out of the concept of the space quantization, what is the output actually? That in case of orbital motion of the electron, not only there is a quantization of angular momentum with respect to magnitude, the angular momentum is also quantized with respect to direction also, and whenever the angular momentum is quantized with respect to direction, it means that only certain directions will be allowed, and if we say that certain directions are allowed only, it means that the inclination of that vector L with respect to the field axis, only certain inclination or only certain angles are allowed, and if only certain angles are allowed, it means that the projection of this vector L onto the field direction will also be quantized, or we can say that only certain projections will be allowed onto the field direction, not all projections will be allowed. So this is the concept of the space quantization, right? Now the next important characteristic of vector atom model is the spin electron hypothesis. Spin electron hypothesis. Spin electron hypothesis. Okay. So in order to explain the fine structure of H alpha line, okay, first characteristic we have just seen, that is the space quantization, concept of the space quantization, and the second hypothesis what was put forward by the two Dutch scientists whose names are Uhlenbeck and Goudsmit. They were the PhD students actually, they were performing their PhD work, and during their PhD work only they put forward a very revolutionary idea or a hypothesis, and that hypothesis has got the name spin electron hypothesis. Now according to them, electron not only performs orbital motion around the nucleus, it also performs the spinning motion about its own axis. Okay, just now we have seen that earlier we considered the orbital angular momentum, right, because electrons were moving along the orbital motion. Here there was the nucleus and electron was moving in the elliptical motion in the orbital fashion. Okay, so according to the Uhlenbeck and the Goudsmit, electron not only performs the orbital motion, it also have the spin. It means that it performs spinning motion about its own axis. Okay, so it will have the orbital motion also, and it will also have the spin motion. Now what is the advantage of considering the spin motion? Now you see, when earlier the electron was supposed to move along the orbit, then it was having some orbital angular momentum. Now these two scientists are telling us that electron not only revolves about electron not only performs the orbital motion, it also performs the spin motion. So if it is performing the spin motion, then it will also have spin angular momentum. It will also have the spin angular momentum, and if it is having a spin angular momentum, then there will be some quantum number associated with it. So therefore there is a quantum number associated with it, and it is called as spin quantum number. It is called as spin quantum number. It is denoted by S. It is denoted by S. Okay. So if the electron is performing a spin motion, then it will have the spin angular momentum, and in order to represent that spin angular momentum, we have to use another quantum number which is called as a spin quantum number. So these are the output of the spin electron hypothesis, right? Now it is very interesting to see that what is this spin motion of the electron. See, this particular spin motion of the electron should not be confused with the classical sense of spinning of the electron. Okay. Earlier we were telling that electron revolves in an orbital fashion. Okay. Now we are telling that electron also spinning about its own axis. Actually, the spinning of electron about own axis, actually no one has seen that whether electron is moving in this way, in that way, or what type of motion is performed by the electron, because electron is very tiny particle. So actually this spin of the electron is actually a quantum concept. Okay, we are saying that electron is spinning, or we are saying that electron has got the spin quantum number. It does not mean that actually it is spinning. Okay, it does not mean that electron is actually spinning. We don't know actually which type of motion is performed by the electron, whether it is performing any orbital motion or not, that also we don't know, but still we have associated some orbital quantum number or orbital angular momentum. So in case of quantum mechanics, in case of quantum physics, whenever we say that orbital quantum number, orbital angular momentum, it is not necessary that electron should perform the orbital like motion in a classical sense. And whenever we say that electron is having a spin quantum number or spin angular momentum, it does not mean that electron is actually spinning. Okay, so these are purely quantum concepts. So how we should remember actually what is the meaning of this orbital angular momentum and the spin angular momentum then? So one should remember that all types of motion, okay, we don't know how the electron is moving. Whenever we consider all types of motion of the electron, whatever motion that is exhibited by the electron, the angular momentum resulted from those sort of motions. Okay, whether it is spinning, whether it is orbital, or whether it is to and fro, we don't know anything, right? So the angular momentum resulted from all sort of motion of the electron inside an atom is represented by this orbital angular momentum quantum number only. It is represented by this orbital quantum number L only. Okay, and the spin of the electron is purely a quantum concept. It is very impossible to comprehend this particular concept, right? So spin of the electron is fixed. Okay, that we have to just take that way. Okay, we don't know that whether it is moving or not, but we have to remember that if the electron is there, it must have some kind of spin, and that spin will be denoted by the spin quantum number. We will be talking about spin angular momentum and all that, but it doesn't mean that electron is actually spinning. That we have to remember. Okay, so this is purely a quantum concept. Okay, so see, earlier electron was having only orbital quantum number. Now the electron is having a spin quantum number also. Orbital quantum number means what? Orbital angular momentum. Spin quantum number means what? Spin angular momentum. And they will also interact, because see, these are the angular momentum only. Suppose that electron is performing some orbital type of motion, then it will have orbital angular momentum. If it is moving about an axis, then it will have the spin angular momentum represented by the spin quantum number. So these are both the angular momentum and these are the vectors actually. Both these vectors will interact with each other and they will form the resultant angular momentum of an electron. They will form resultant angular momentum of an electron. It will be denoted by a letter J. So there will be so many interactions within the atom of different electrons and within the single electron also. The single electron will have different components, and you can easily understand that in this particular atomic model. Okay, the atomic model which is based on this particular concept and some experimental facts is called as a vector atom model. And why it is called as a vector atom model? Actually, because every component of the electron within this particular electronic orbit is represented by some kind of vector. Okay, it is having orbital motion, so it will be represented by orbital angular momentum vector. It is having some spin motion, then it will be represented by spin angular momentum vector. Okay, both these will interact, so there will be the resultant total angular momentum vector. Okay, now again the electron is a charged particle. So whenever the electron revolves around the orbit, okay, in a orbit, whenever the electron revolves in a orbit, it will also possess some magnetic moment, because it will be equivalent to the current circuital loop. right? So whenever the charged particle moves, it will generate the magnetic field and it will have some magnetic moment. So if the electron is performing orbital motion, it will have orbital magnetic moment. If the electron is performing spinning motion, then it will have spin magnetic moment, and again magnetic moments are again a vector quantities. So both these magnetic moment will interact and they will generate total magnetic moment of the electron inside the atom or inside that particular orbit. So all these components will be represented by vectors, and therefore this particular atomic model is called as a vector atom model. So this particular atom model will generate a new sets of quantum numbers now. So let us again revisit the new sets of quantum numbers in case of vector atom.